So here we are in EADMS, and what are we going to do? We are going to create an item right there. Create an item. It might be good for you to make sure that you have high resolution on this. Down here in the corner on a YouTube video, you can always increase the resolution up to 720, I think. So let's create our item. And we have a lot of different items here. A really common one is selected response, often referred to as like multiple choice. Constructed response is where the student will actually, or the user would fill in their own response. We can even do a drawing type question. That's pretty cool. Inline drop down is like a pull down menu within it, highlightable text. All these kind of things are things that students and users would see on upcoming tests as well, especially online versions. Some of these things, of course, you couldn't really do on paper, like a inline drop down you couldn't do. Highlightable text, you could kind of highlight the test, I guess you could, but a lot of times we don't. And even like equation numeric we could put in there as well. So let's take a look at just a basic one, selected response. And by the way, if you look at up here in the corner, it says PDF tutorial. That is a great resource that kind of walks you through this entire thing. In fact, here's a quick preview of it. It has all this information in much more detail that you can go back and just look at individual pieces, like what's the difference between the items and difference between the types of standards, and how do I use these online tools to go with them. We're going to preview some of the stuff here, but you'll see most of it in the PDF tutorial as well. So down here in the corner, which you can't actually see, so let's move things down. There we go, down to our main part of the screen. We're going to create a new item. Now, when you create a new item, you do have to go through some work ahead of time to look at the organization of that item. This piece here, local ID, is optional. I usually don't put it in there, but you are more than welcome to. We're going to be putting ours in the PUHSD, Paris Union High School District Item Bank. You want to make it available to print and online, because if you do print only, then they can't include this question on an online test. If you do online only, then they can't include it on a print test. So let's do print and online. Depth of knowledge, this is actually another kind of part of this assignment, but trying to know the difference between these types of depth of knowledge and where does this question fit. We're going to do recall and production, which is just a basic entry-level type item. Down here, you probably want to be choosing your English language arts or math. There are other standards from the other ones that were previously before the Common Core standards, but for Common Core type tests, we're going to be using these ones up here. So let's say I clicked on Common Core State Standards for English Language Arts. If I wanted to do a kindergarten level standard, it's included, but I'm going to go up to grades, let's say 9 to 10. Once I do that, this last piece here is now populated with the 9 through 10 standards. So if you look at this code, it says Language Arts 9 through 10, L 9 through 10, 1B. What that means is the L stands for the category that this fits into. Here's a quick peek at these categories. If you were to just go to corestandards.org and look for the English Language Arts, that L stands for language. We also have SL for speaking listening, W for writing, RF for reading foundational skills, RI for reading informational text, RL for reading literature, and then there's some anchor standards as well. In math, you have a similar structure where that letter would be like an A for algebra, an F for functions, a G for geometry, and an S for statistics. And there might be some others in there as well. We also have the standards for mathematical practice in the math group. Let's take a look at those. So in the math standards, you could choose, let's say, high school, and you can choose a standard for mathematical practice. So I could, did I choose that? No. Let's see, high school, mathematical practices, because that goes through all grade levels. So we have, mathematical practice 1, and then that's a long version of it. Mathematical practice 2, And there's the long version of that. You don't necessarily need the long version, but if you knew which one it fit into, it's not bad to fit those in there. Okay, so let's go back to Common Core State Standards, English Language Arts. We're going to do 9 through 10, and we're going to do a spelling question. Real basic here. Now I'm going to add the standard, but let's say that I wanted to add more than one standard. Currently, I have the one standard here, and I can click on and show the details of that. So I can see what exactly is in there, spelled correctly, because maybe I don't remember what that code is. So right here, I can say I could add this standard. And I say, oh, I don't remember what that standard was. Let's see what the details are. Use context, overall meaning, sentence, paragraph, words, position, or function in sentence as a clue to the meaning of the word or phrase. So, maybe whatever question we were doing, use both of those. If you didn't want one of these standards, you could X them out. So that one is now gone. It's not part of it. We're just going to spell correctly. Save and go to next step. So the stem of the prompt is really your question, and then you have your distractors here. There are multiple types of formats to input the distractors. The CI is correct, incorrect. CINR is correct, incorrect, no response. True, false. You can set these up to be side by side, horizontal. Side by side would be like a grid, like A, B, C, D. Horizontal would be straight across, vertical, straight up and down. Down here you can add in some rationale. It's almost like some feedback if somebody chose the correct answer or the incorrect answer, and so on. So let's say we were to put in here, how do you spell gray? Or, yeah, we can't just give them the answer, I suppose. The color you get when mixing black and white. So we could say gray, and then we could also say gray, and you could maybe have more than one right answer. It is possible to do that. I can check this box and this box, and now I have two right answers, which is kind of word. And then I'm going to put in here gray and gray, like that, and see if they can figure out which one it is. So in the scoring instructions, because we have more than one right answer, we could say, okay, it's going to be a maximum of 2 points. We could say 3, we could say 1, however you want. And 2 points if the student selects at least one correct answer and a maximum of, let's say 2 correct answers and a maximum of 0. And then this says 0 points if a student selects 0 correct answers. Now, so it's just giving us options for 0 and 2. If we were to do, let's say, 3, we'd have to still kind of give this established how many correct do they get and how many wrong could they get. And it's only 3 or 0. Now, it doesn't give you options for like half scoring, which is, kind of rough. So because of that, I would probably suggest not using more than one right answer. So let's say we just did GREY and we accepted that. I'm going to turn this off. Now if I try to go back to scoring instructions only apply to items with multiple correct answers, which means I can't do that. So now we have a correct answer, we have this item, we don't need to add rationale necessarily, but you could to give them feedback. If you wanted to preview what it would look like, you can click preview online, and this is exactly what it would look like there. Now if we wanted to change this, let's say we want it to be horizontal instead, that's going to change how it looks online. Oh, maybe not. What if we did side by side? So there you go, it's always going to be vertical there. Maybe it just changes in the print. Yep. So in the print it would look side by side like that, but if it was horizontal, we preview the print, it would look horizontal. So the online is always going to be vertical, it looks like, for the selected response. Let's go ahead and save and finish. This would say your item has been saved. What would you like to do next? Continue editing the item, create new item, return to the item portal, or return home. We could keep creating items. In the next video, we're going to show you how to add items that you've created. So let's go ahead and wrap this one up here.